President Biden published an economic report back in March, and there was a lot of crypto in there. Let's break it down.
When Lambo, I'm such a degen.
Welcome to Degenny from the blockchain, where we defy logic. And yeah, there was a lot of pages of crypto related content in that report. Let's just jump right in. I don't know if anybody's ever read all the pages of what was said about crypto in this economic report, but we're going to do it here on Degenny from the blockchain. So let's get right to it. As you can see, Biden published this economic report. It's dated March 2023. And let's just search crypto and see what we get. 45 pages. Yeah. And it starts in Chapter 8, Digital Assets, Relearning Economic Principles. Whoops. Oh, well, there we go. We just jumped right to it. Perfect. That is perfect. All right, let me switch around the camera here so you could see. I'll just move it up here. Okay. So, digital assets, relearning economic principles. Yes, I would say with digital assets, we are relearning economic principles. Or are you saying we need to relearn our legacy economic principles because crypto is so bad? Okay, let's not go there yet. Okay, let's not go there yet. Let's just read. Okay. Multiple financial crises have struck the United States during the last 2 centuries. Many of these crises have been caused by institutions that function like banks, but are not registered or regulated as banks, so-called shadow banks. Oh my God. Oh my God. For example, the 1907 crisis, then called a panic, was mainly caused by trust companies where state-chartered entities that competed with banks for deposits. Because these trusts were not part of the central payment system and thus processed only a small amount of payments, they did not hold a large amount of cash relative to deposits. To earn profits, they made as many loans as possible. After a series of events in October 1907 set off a rush for withdrawals, several trusts faced a run and were forced to suspend credit and liquidate assets, acting as a catalyst for a larger fire sale in the financial markets. Wow, this has been happening for centuries, folks. To save the financial system, J.P. Morgan. Wow, interesting. Of course, you're going to be in this report somehow. J.P. Morgan, owner of the eponymous bank, and a small number of other financial leaders eventually chose which banks. Oops. Oh, let me scroll up a little bit. Sorry. Okay. With a crisis, the financial system constituted rely on a privileged group of individuals seeking to maximize their own profits rather than on institutions that had an obligation to protect the public's interest. This realization helped lead to the creation of the Federal Reserve, the centralized entity. Ooh, it's right in here. It's right in the report. Centralized entity. Okay, so of course President Biden is going to have. Okay. Of course, President Biden is going to have negative talk on crypto in this report because, I mean, he's the president of the United States, and the Federal Reserve was created and is a government entity and has federal in the title, so President Biden has to has to have language that's pretty harsh to crypto in this report, because otherwise the past century or more than a century is just going to be wiped out with legacy finance in the banking system and what we have all been conditioned by our education that what finances are. So yeah, of course Biden, he can't talk highly of crypto here. So let's continue on and see what we got, see what else is said. But the centralized entity that first aimed to serve as the lender of last resort over time also obtained the exclusive power to issue U.S. dollar notes and manage the nation's monetary policy. Fast forward 100 years, and digital asset proponents are now aspiring to create a decentralized financial system without relying on government. Very smart, President Biden. You get it. You get it, at least right there in that sentence. And the regulatory frameworks, which were shaped by important lessons learned from multiple previous crises, including the 1907 panic. Okay, so yes, President Biden, we are bullish on crypto and a decentralized system without regulatory framework because of previous crises. Absolutely. You said it. That's so true, okay? The crisis of 2008, the crisis that we're going through right now, where COVID happened and we just printed more money in the couple years following COVID for the United States than had ever existed previously as okay, let me get this right. Since COVID, the couple years after COVID and all the money printing that went on, the United States printed more money in those couple of years following COVID than they had in the entire existence of the US dollar. That's what I keep hearing and reading about. So, yeah, if you don't think that's going to be an inflation crisis and a interest rates hike crisis like we're seeing and a recession crisis, then you're crazy. So, of course, President Biden, yes, we want to not rely on governments and their regulatory frameworks because of crises that have happened. So, enter digital assets and crypto could be the savior. Digital assets are electronic representations of value and operate as part of a complex and interconnected digital ecosystem. Crypto assets are a subset of digital assets that use cryptographic techniques and distributed ledger technology, DLT, but exclude central bank digital currencies. U.S. Department of Treasury. DLTs rely on networks to store and process transactions. This chapter primarily examines crypto assets whose proponents have been relearning the lessons from previous financial crises the hard way. In addition to the decentralized custody and control of money, it has been argued that crypto assets may provide other benefits such as improving payment systems, increasing financial inclusion, and creating mechanisms for the distribution of intellectual property and financial value that bypass intermediaries that extract value from both the provider and recipient. Woo, that is one long sentence that I absolutely love. That is so true. So, that sentence right here, I mean, it literally, oh no, it's cut off a little bit for you. Sorry, I just realized. Okay, let's move it over a little bit for you. Okay, there. That's where we'll live, okay? Yeah, let's go full here. Whoops. Okay. So, that sentence, that very long sentence that I just read, is exactly why we want crypto. So, in everything in there is painted positively for crypto and crypto assets. So, I'd be curious to see in the following pages why they FUD crypto so bad and why they're so negative towards crypto. They meaning the president, but also just the White House, the office of the president, federal agencies, governments. Because everything that has been laid out, financial crises in the past, as well as, it wasn't stated in those pages, but we know the recession that's happening now and the inflation and the interest rates and stemming from, all this money printing and then the 2008 crisis, of course, in this millennium. Everything that we just read, you would think this is all great. Yeah, let's go. Let's implement it. So why is it going to be a negative report? And what are they going to come up with to say that crypto is bad? Probably that there's bad actors in the crypto space and, because there's no third-party intermediaries, nobody's checking that money and where it's going. Okay, well, I wish people weren't so bad humans, but for the majority of humans on this planet, this is a good thing. But The negatives always outweigh the positives, and that's why a few bad actors can take down or can FUD an entire industry, and that's what's been happening. Well, if we continue on, so looking under the hood at these arguments, however, shows a more complicated picture. Alluding to exactly what I just said, they would say, so far, crypto assets have brought none of these benefits? What? None of these benefits? Okay, because let's take distribution of intellectual property value bypass enumerity. Let's take an example of I don't know, payment systems, improving payment systems. How about this? Let's take this example, President Biden. Crypto can improve payment systems is the proposal here. Absolutely, because it doesn't need to be cleared. It's instantly cleared when you send it from wallet to wallet, because that's the actual currency that you're sending. You're not sending an IOU or anything like that through Zelle or through Venmo, that shows up 3 to 5 business days later in the background because it was finally cleared by a centralized entity. No, crypto is instantaneous. As soon as it shows up in the next wallet, that's essentially it was cleared, because you can't send the money if you don't have it, right? So yes, of course, crypto can improve payment systems, okay? And the reason why it hasn't yet in the mainstream is because you and U.S. government officials are delaying this process for some reason. You're trying to play nice with the legacy finance technology and people when clearly there's a better one out there for us right now that exists right now, okay? So when you say, so far, crypto assets have brought none of these benefits, it's because you in the US government haven't allowed for these benefits that you just laid out. I mean, the contradiction here is crazy. You just laid out all the positive things that crypto can do for the world. And if anybody just read those few paragraphs or sentences, I think one would agree. One would agree that those are good things. But this sentence, so far, crypto assets have brought none of those benefits. So far, guess who's in the way there? It's you, President Biden. It's you, Federal Reserve. It's you, Janet Yellen. It's you, Gary Gensler. It's you, SEC. It is you, U.S. government agencies. Just accept it, and we'd be well off into the future right now. Meanwhile, the costs generated by several of their aspects, such as those for consumers, the physical environment, and the financial system, are not only substantial, but are also being accrued in the present. Indeed, crypto assets to date do not appear to offer investments with any fundamental value, nor do they act as an effective alternative to fiat money, improve financial inclusion, or make payments more efficient. That is on you, of course, because if you say that you need, as a business, to be registered under X, Y, and Z and have financial assets of X, Y, and Z, that's how they're going to operate, because otherwise they can't even be a business in the United States. But if you would just lighten up a little bit on that and allow businesses to operate under the parameters that had just been laid out here in the past page or two, then you can't say this, right? Because that's the whole reason why this highlighted message here even exists, is because you have stopped that innovation from happening. Simple as that. Oh boy, I must be right on, because the next word here is innovation. Instead, their innovation has been mostly about creating artificial scarcity in order to support crypto assets prices, and many of them have no fundamental value. Well, many of them have no fundamental value. I actually can't argue with that, because there's probably no need for 10,000 or 12,000 crypto out there. That does seem pretty excessive to me. maybe, fast forward 20 years and this whole technology has been adopted in the crypto ecosystem, we may have 100 or something. We probably don't need more than like 50 or even 30 crypto. I mean, they all can do a lot, right? So like, I don't know, some blockchains will be for one thing and others will be for another, so yeah, I agree that there's no fundamental value in most of them, and most of them meaning, ones that have no utility, right? And that are just empty promises or meme coins or, yeah, we don't need 10,000 coins. I agree with that. So I'll give you that. This raises the question of the role of regulation in protecting, oh no, sorry, I did it again. So I read, crypto assets to date do not appear to offer investments with any fundamental value, nor do they act as an effective alternative to fiat money, improve financial inclusion, or make payments more efficient. Instead, their innovation has been mostly about creating artificial scarcity in order to support crypto assets prices, and many of them have no fundamental value. That's what I was just reacting off of. But continuing, this raises the question of the role of regulation in protecting consumers, investors, and the rest of the financial system from panics, crashes, and fraud related to crypto assets. Okay. Even so, as companies and governments experiment with DLT, it is conceivable that some of their potential benefits may be realized in the future. All right. Got some lioness hair in my mouth from her tail. Okay, so you admit that they could be realized in the future, but I mean, this is so weird because the reason why this technology hasn't been implemented is because you, as U.S. officials, and including the president, have not taken it seriously and are not looking for ways to implement it within the financial infrastructure of the United States. It's as simple as that. So that's why, we haven't seen. That's why we haven't seen That's why we haven't seen the benefits of these crypto assets. I mean, it's on you. It's on you. I wonder if when the smartphone came out and legacy communication systems talked to the president and said, hey, we got to stop the smartphone technology, No, you saw it was a fantastic technology, so we saw how fast it got implemented in our lives, and now everybody has a cell phone in their pocket. Well, I think that's going to be it for now. We'll go over the perceived appeal of crypto assets in the next video, but we are going to break down these 45 pages of where crypto is mentioned in this 500-page economic report by the President of the United States that was released back in March. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. We're just heating up here on this report, and you can see that there's some pretty strong opinions from the president, and this is the president and a team of probably hundreds of people. I mean, you think the president actually typed this out? I doubt it. Do you think he even read it? I have no idea. But I mean, I don't want to FUD or anything, because maybe he did and maybe they did. I honestly have no idea how these reports come out, especially ones that are so long and that have many references at the end of it. So, but that's just the start of the economic report, where crypto is mentioned a lot and has its own few chapters. So we're going to go through it over the next few videos, okay? So stick around. This is not financial advice. It's just my blockchain reaction. I wonder if this is financial advice from the president. That's what, I don't know, it's supposed to be, right? An economic report? I have no idea. Okay. Well, again, thank you for watching. This is not financial advice, just my blockchain reaction. See you in the next video where we will go through that next section. Hey, thank you for watching to the very end. And before you go, please subscribe to the channel, crank up that like button, drop a comment and share the video. If you want to join me on the VEUIT platform, the Web3 streaming platform, I'm going to migrate all my content over there and create new content on the blockchain. My referral link is in the description below.